They say the wide open plains of the West can swallow a man whole, leaving him with nothing but the sound of wind in the grass and the achy of his own loneliness. And if you stay with me till the end, you'll see how a lonely rancher's broken heart and a young Apache girl's silent cry for life turned into something much bigger than either of them. Something that proves forgiveness is stronger than hate. The story begins with Thomas Grady, a middle-aged rancher whose eyes had grown as tired as his soul. He had lost his wife years earlier, then his son to fever, and what was left of him lived in silence on a patch of dry, unforgiving land. Every sunrise looked the same, every sunset burned red against his heart. Some men drink themselves numb, others work themselves into dust. Thomas did both. One evening, while riding back from town with a sack of feed, he cut across a dry ravine where the mesquite trees tangled against the sky. That's when he saw her. At first he thought his weary eyes were playing tricks, but as he rode closer his chest turned cold. Hanging from a low tree branch by a crude rope was a young Apache girl, no more than 12 or 13. Her small frame dangled still and helpless, and nailed to the tree was a rough wooden board scrawled in black, "White man don't forgive." Thomas's hands shook as he leapt from his horse. The girl's eyes were half closed, her lips blue, but she was still alive, barely. He cut her down fast, cradling her in arms that had once carried his own child. Her breath came ragged, her body weak, but her heart was fighting. He pressed his ear against her chest and whispered, "Not today. You're not leaving today." He carried her back to his ranch where he laid her on the same bed his son had once slept in. Through the night he fought to bring her back. Boiling water, tending her bruised neck, spooning drops of broth into her mouth when she stirred. As dawn cracked the horizon she opened her eyes, dark, frightened and filled with pain. She flinched away from him as though expecting another blow. Thomas raised his hands slow, speaking in the only way he knew. "You're safe here. Not while I'm breathing." But safety wasn't so simple. Word spread fast in small towns and whispers turned sharp. An Apache girl in a white man's house was trouble. Neighbors came by, first curious then angry. "She don't belong here, Grady. Send her back or worse'll come." Some spat the word savage. Others muttered about revenge for raids long past, yet Thomas stood firm. He didn't see an enemy in that child. He saw his son's eyes, his wife's gentle spirit, and a human life worth saving. The girl, whose name he learned was Naya, spoke little at first. Fear clung to her like shadow. Slowly, with food, kindness, and time, she began to trust him. She told him in broken English of men who had taken her family, of nights tied to posts, of how she had been left hanging as a warning. She carried scars not only on her neck but deep inside her heart. As the weeks passed, Thomas and Naya built something fragile yet real. He taught her to ride his old mare, to mend fences, to plant seeds in the garden. She showed him the old songs of her people, the quiet ways of listening to wind and earth. Together they filled the silence of the ranch with something it hadn't known in years, hope. But danger came knocking. A group of men from town, their faces twisted with fear and hate, rode out one evening with torches in their hands. They shouted at Thomas's door, demanding he hand the girl over. "She don't belong to you, Grady! She's a curse!" Thomas stepped onto the porch, rifle in hand but voice steady. "She's just a child. And as long as I draw breath, she stays." The standoff burned long into the night until the men finally rode off, muttering threats. The next morning Thomas packed his wagon. He knew they couldn't stay. The world around them was too cruel, too blind to see what he saw. He told Naya, "We're going north. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere you can grow without chains around your neck." And so they left, crossing rivers, valleys, and endless plains. Along the way Naya's laughter began to return, her voice stronger each day. Thomas, for the first time in years, felt like a father again. Months later they found a place, a green valley hidden by pines, where the soil was rich and the streams ran clear. There they built a small cabin, side by side. Not white land, not Apache land, but their land, a place of healing, a place of forgiveness. Years passed. Naya grew into a young woman, strong and wise. She carried both her people's spirit and the lessons Thomas had given her. And when strangers did find their valley, they saw not enemies but family. Because by then the story of the lonely rancher who saved a girl meant to die had spread beyond hatred's reach. And so if you've stayed with me till now, remember this: forgiveness is not weakness, and love can grow even in the harshest soul. One man's choice to save a life instead of turning away changed two broken souls, and maybe, just maybe, it changed the world around them.